right, the reason we're all here tonight, everyone please welcome United States Marine Corps combat veteran, author of Common Sense for California, and the man who's going to send Mark Takano packing on November 5th, the man who is uniting us all tonight, your Republican nominee for the 39th District, David Serpa.
Are you okay? Okay, I appreciate everybody sticking around for so late and being a part of this tonight. This flag right here, my sister's a combat veteran. She flew this in Iraq. And she sent it to me and I flew it in Afghanistan. And tonight, it's here where it belongs in our district because our problems are here. My name is David Serpa. For those of you that don't know, I am a machine gunner. I am a Marine Corps combat veteran. I'm the author of Common Sense for California. And if you want to beat Congressman Mark Takano, I'm your Huckleberry. So, what a beautiful night. Thank you so much, Sheriff Bianco. I appreciate everything. We don't need to worry about this video. I was wanting to get everybody motivated with some Braveheart, but it's flipping 9 o'clock at night, so let's just rock and roll. Thank you to Chris. Cut the volume, please, David. Cut it. Okay, thank you to Chris. I appreciate you, Doc. This wouldn't be possible without you. Thank you, Ernie. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Janice. Thank you, my mom. I appreciate everybody that's here. I've got a lot on my mind tonight. I've got a lot on my heart. This has been a long road. Now, this district was a Democratic stronghold 18 months ago. It was considered unwinnable when we started this race, with 26% more registered Democrats than Republicans. No one gave us a chance. Well, we knocked on over 20,000 doors, and the Republican Party has registered over 9,000 new Republicans in the 39th District. And 2 weeks ago, Congressman Mark Takano's internal polling showed that President Trump and the Republican Party winning in this unwinnable district. Now, the 39th District is very much in play now for the first time in 12 years. And with your help, we're going to pull off one of the biggest upsets in the country, and we're going to win in 103 days. Because I'm done losing. I don't know about you, but I'm done losing family and friends to other states. I'm done paying 2 to 3 times as much for groceries as we did just 3 years ago. I'm done paying top-tier costs for energy in an energy-rich state. I'm done losing good schools in good communities. I'm done watching my children lose the American dream. I'm done losing good people to their own hand as the VA crumbles. And I am done with never-ending wars. And I am done, at the very least, with losing the promise of better days. We don't even hope anymore. Well, they pushed us hard enough, and the people that just wanted to be left alone are now getting involved in politics. And where are my veterans at? Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate you sticking around, Castle. This message is for you. A lot of this message is for you. Thayudidi said that the society that separates its scholars from its warriors will have its thinking done by cowards and its fighting done by fools. Veterans, we need you to run for office. We have people in places of legislation who don't understand violence, and so they are comfortable legislating violence to the world from the halls of Congress. Veterans are treated like props to stand in the background during photo opportunities. They pay us lip service. They give us days and parades. This country supports its veterans until we come home and make them uncomfortable. We talk a lot about PTSD. And I've talked about it. You guys know I've checked myself into the VA. It's time that we start talking about post-traumatic growth. The idea that we are better men and women post-trauma. We've waited long enough for the VA to be fixed in this country, and so we are going to do it. We're going to fix the VA, and we're going to do it from the inside. We're done draping flags over coffins because of a broken VA and a corrupt Congress. Veterans are leading now. Just look at how many of them have joined us here today. Nick Pardue, Robert Shukar, Danny Molina, Dr. Joseph Komrosky was supposed to be here, Pastor Tim Thompson, Ron Edwards, Patty Sigmund, and Nick Safon Jr., and I know that we have more in the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an opportunity to lay the groundwork for victory so that we can send a Marine to Congress and a Marine to the White House in 2024. We want to lay the foundation so that we win seats in 2024, so that we can help our Riverside County Sheriff turn this whole state red and be elected to governor in 2026. And we're not going to do it by silencing veterans, by silencing the American people, by eliminating discord from the public square. It's time that we strengthen the First Amendment again and allow churches, nonprofits, and veteran organizations the right to exercise their freedom of speech freely without being threatened by the government. Thank you. They say that we're not supposed to get political. The problem is that everything has become political. The cost of groceries is political. The cost of gas at the pump is political. The home insurance crisis in California is political. The border crisis is political. Homelessness is political. Our schools are now political. Our never-ending wars are political. Our broken health insurance system is political. Even water in California is political. Now, I heard Vice President Kamala Harris say that in the past, wars were fought over oil, but in a short future, they will be fought over water. I don't want to live in that world. I hate to break it to you, ladies and gentlemen, our entire lives have become political. And if you don't go to the fight, then the fight will come to you. The more territory that you cede, the more that they will take from you. And this goes to extremes if you don't confront it. In our homes, in our schools, and even in our funerals. I can't believe that the word police came out to a funeral at the VA cemetery. The largest VA cemetery in the West Coast. If there's not room for veterans to speak their mind and only room for them to be buried, then we owe it to the men and women that are buried in the ground to take this country back. The wild thing is this. If it were an LGBTQ soldier who was lost in Afghanistan, the same people would have shown up to memorialize them, and the same people would have been outside Riverside National Cemetery protesting. They tried to cancel us. They tried to cancel a veteran memorial because they say that I was there with 3%ers in Proud Boys. Which is funny because the GOP didn't endorse me because I went to the BLM rally in Temecula to make sure that there was no violence that happened in my hometown. I don't care, right, Sheriff? Wherever the problem is, that's where I'm going to show up because you show up and you show out for people in this country. So yes, I stood at a memorial with for our fallen with Proud Boys and with 3%ers, and I'm not ashamed. My message to the protesters is this. Instead of asking me why I'm there, ask yourself why you weren't. I show up and I stand with everyone. I will even stand up for you, even if you will not stand up for me, because that's what free speech is all about. Free speech is meant to protect comfortable speech. The First Amendment allows us the right to free speech, but the Second Amendment protects the first. And it includes the right to a well-regulated militia. So stop crying about me being around militia types. Those are my people. Now, every American is my people. I don't other people. The moment that someone becomes deplorable or detestable, and we stop leaving our echo chambers, we become dangerous. John Adams wrote that liberty, once lost, is lost forever. When the people once surrender their share in the legislature and their right of defending the limitations upon the government and of resisting every encroachment upon them, then they can never regain it. No more complacency, no more apathy. The demons that you do not fight, you pass on to your children, and we've got some fighting to do. We're here to fight those demons right inside the VA. We're here to fight them inside the halls of Congress, up in Sacramento and in DC, and we are going to drain the swamp. Not half the swamp. You can't drain half the swamp. You have to drain the whole damn swamp. The Mike Pompeos, the John Boltons, the Lindsey Grahams, the administrative and bureaucratic state, the FBI, the CIA, the EPA, and the FDA, and we won't stop there. We don't want federal entities at play in Riverside County. If there is not oversight, and it does not pass the constitutional stink test by Sheriff Bianco and our DA Mike Hestrin, I don't want it happening in Riverside County. We have to demand better by being better. At some point, we have to stop believing that we are traumatized victims of a system. At some point, our complicity within this system is evil. Our own apathy is our enemy. Edmund Burke said, the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. And I know that there are good men and women here today. Mostly good. Some of you are a little bit sketchy. But I know that we have eyes to see, so what's stopping us? If we know that the VA is a mess, fix it. If you know that E1s to E6s aren't paid enough and that 60% of their families have to be on food stamps or government assistance, fix it. If you know that you don't want to send your children to fight the same wars that you did or your grandparents did, fix it. So where do we turn our energy? Congressman Mark Takano is the ranking member in the Veteran Affairs Committee in the House of Representatives. That's right. Congressman Mark Takano, who has never served a day in any uniform in his life, is the ranking member in the Veteran Affairs Committee. And the VA in Loma Linda should be the best in the country, but it's not. This is a man who voted to fund wars in Ukraine, in Taiwan, in Israel, and voted to ban TikTok, but the VA still can't run properly? 70% of the younger generation gets their news from TikTok. Can't have them getting their information outside of the Mockingbird media when he has a war to sell. He's not pro-veteran. He's pro-war. And his voting record is absolutely terrible. This is the man that voted no on H.R. 5, the Parents' Bill of Rights, then took it one step further by letter demanding that parental rights, Section 651, within all public schools ran by the Department of Defense be removed from the National Defense Authorization Act of 2024. He voted no on H.R. 1213, a resolution regarding violence against law enforcement officers. This man voted no on H.R. 2, the Secure Our Border Act, no on H.R. 7511, the Lakin-Riley Act, and no on H.R. 192, which would prohibit individuals who are not citizens from voting in our elections. He voted yes on Build Back Better, later renamed the Inflation Reduction Act, but has inflation actually been reduced? Mortgage rates are up 152%. Energy costs are up over 30%. What have we built back better? And the big thing that Takano is known for in the veteran community is the PACT Act. The PACT Act expands health care benefits for some veterans affected by Agent Orange and burn pits if they apply and are accepted in the time window. His big accomplishment is covering some veterans, but every veteran should have health care. I agree with President Trump that we should repeal and replace Obamacare, but Democrats don't even talk about health care anymore. They talk about medical debt forgiveness. That's the new buzzword. President Trump could end the Democrats' rule over Washington, D.C. for the next 12 years if we just deliver on what he got one vote short from his first time in office. Something that Pelosi wouldn't even bring to a vote on the floor. And something that Governor Newsom pulled from the floor before he even allowed it to go to a vote. The party of businessmen can figure out health care. And these cowards who believe that we can always afford to kill people, but we can never afford to heal people, have voted to expand the draft age from 18 to 26, make it automatic instead of mandatory, and now they want to include our daughters in the draft. If anything's worth booing, that's worth booing. I can't help but worry about World War III when there are 15 active conflicts right now that the United States is taking part in. It's time that we work towards peace as aggressively as those who work towards war. Now, not only are they silencing our veterans and the VFW and the American Legion and the auxiliaries, but they are silencing our churches. How did we ever allow that? Telling us what we can and cannot say in the church. Now is not the time to be timid. Churches in Action is holding prayer breakfast, and Faith and Freedom Coalition California wants to put a drop box in your church the Sunday before Election Day. So tell your pastors. We want everyone at the table. Invite the other side. We can't help it if they won't stand in the same room. But what if we all just showed up and did just that? Talk. I was the only Republican who accepted the invitation from COPE, Congregations Organized for Prophetic Engagement. It's a group of black churches, predominantly black churches, and they invited us Republicans. All of us should have been there. We have to do better. I've watched Pastor Tim go out and talk to protesters several times at his church and in his events. I talked to protesters outside of the United IE Family Pack event with Dr. K, Eric Trump, and Alina Haba, and I was excited to see the protesters. As I was driving up, I saw that they were going to be across the street, so I made sure that I got a chance to walk by them, and I parked over there next to them. And I walked up, and as I was walking by, I said, "Good evening." And one of them said, "You're very handsome." And I said, "Thank you so much, I appreciate that." And then I took out my cards and I said, "You know, we're all here for the children. I think that we're not really that far apart. And if we get an opportunity to talk, I would really," and I go to pull out my business card, they'll start screaming at me. They'll start yelling. And they refused to take my business card. Now, we all may not agree on everything. Just show up. If you agree with someone 100% of the time, one of you is probably lying. Besides, I still believe, as President Reagan said, the person who agrees 80% of the time is a friend and an ally, not a 20% traitor. I have received a lot of criticism over the course of throwing these events for the people that I've had here. For Danny Molina, for Pastor Tim, just like I'm sure you've been criticized for hanging out with me. I'm a weird dude. But you know what? He accepted the criticism. And I accepted the criticism because we refuse to be divided. And you know what? Everybody had a different approach to this. I asked all the Democrats to come and speak, and I asked the Republicans to come and speak. And I told Mike Cargile, "Hey, I want to have a bunch of Democrats come and speak, and I want Republicans to come and speak." And he told me, "Hey, Serpa, that's fine. I'll be a part of your liberal, hippy-dippy, kumbaya love fest if you need me to." But guess what? All three of those people that called me to criticize Pastor Tim, I invited them to speak tonight. I offered to give them the same stage, the same platform, the same audience, the same microphone, and the same time limit, but none of them are with us tonight. So, I'm proud to be standing with the people who will stand with American people wherever they are found, period. And in fact, I invited over 30 Democrats to speak at these events. Where's Ernie? Ernie, would you say that's about 30 Democrats? And we have receipts. We have names and we have titles. We invited city councilmen and we invited mayors. Didn't we, Ernie? Yeah. And you should see what some of them wrote to my team. They put it in writing. They called us deplorables and J6ers and maggots. The thing is I would speak at any one of their Democratic meetings, but they won't invite me. So I hope that these newfound cries for loyalty, for unity, are sincere. Because we've been on that unity bandwagon for 18 months. And they're all going to be invited again on August 21st. But I have a feeling that they won't be here. Because they don't want unity. They want submission. They want silence. They want compliance. And you cannot unify with people who don't want to be unified, with people who only crave division. And that goes for both sides of the aisle. As much as I want to unify with those who are capable, we have to be ready to separate the chaff from the wheat. We want unity, but if you are incapable, unwilling, or are just standing in the way of making America great again, then you are the problem. We have to stand in our truth no matter what the consequences. I'm going to read from Matthew. Do not think that I came to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to set man against his father, a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's enemies will be those in his own household. He who loves his father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he who loves his son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he who does not take his cross and follow after me is not worthy of me. He who finds his life will lose it. And he who loses his life for my sake will find it. So don't get so lost in prayer that you forget to pick up your cross. Prayer is something that you do before or after you do something. Faith without works is dead. Amen. If you're doing this right, and you're going to make some enemies, because that's the way that it's always been, and that's the way that it always will be. Yep. That's okay. If you're worried about your tax status, just look at the Johnson Law. You only have to invite the opposition, and there is no trouble. But do you really think that Congressman Takano is going to walk into a church? So just invite them. Invite Corey Jackson. Invite Raul Ruiz. Invite Clarissa Cervantes. Because they're not going to show up. And then invite Leticia, invite Ron, and invite Ian and myself, because we will. And if you don't want to go through all the work of going through the government's games of deciding what you can and cannot do in your church, then just render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and hold Caesar accountable at the ballot box in D.C. and in Sacramento. Because is Caesar's coin worth a muzzle at your church? If so, then who are we worshiping anyway? Look in your program that you have there on your table, and you'll see that David Serpa's War Room, which we have flyers for in the back, is on July 31st. Our next prayer breakfast is on August 15th at Calvary Chapel Inland with Pastor Ruben Solis. And the next Make California Great Again 2024 Unity Rally is on August 21st. And all of these can be found on my website, davidserpaforcongress.com. Now, we've been trained not to say the things that we need to say in the places that we need to say them. We are losing our First Amendment, and I keep being told there is a time and a place for everything. Well, when is that time? Where is that place? We are not fighting enemies. That's what the oligarchs want. We know that our neighbor is not our enemy. We were called to love our neighbor. But those in power have been preaching civil war because they don't want revolution. Now, JFK said those who make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable. And the same people who tried to take out President Trump and every populist leader in our nation's history assassinated him. Mao said politics is war without bloodshed, and war is politics with bloodshed. Sometimes in this country it is hard to tell the difference. But let me make it clear. I don't want violent revolution. That's why I'm pushing for a peaceful one. I have been shown through following Jesus Christ that my path is one of nonviolence. When they came for Jesus and one of his followers cut off a high priest's ear, Jesus healed the man and told him, put it away. Those who live by the sword die by the sword. It is the meek who will inherit the earth. The meek, those who are capable of violence, but decide to keep their weapons sheathed. I want peace. And I'm the peaceful representation of violent men. And I am desperately trying to unite everyone. But the truth is, you cannot unite people who don't want to be united. You cannot bring everyone on the trip that we are going on because not everyone is capable of making the journey. We have to win this country back starting on August 5th. We cannot wait until Election Day. So on July 31st, we unveiled a plan to win at the War Room. The final 97 days from August 5th to November 5th, we are going to work. So whoever is fearful and trembling, let him return home and hurry away from Mount Gilead. We don't need the lazy, the incapable, or the unwilling. We need warriors, we need patriots, and we need the willing to work towards better days with us. We need Americans to work together if we are ever going to win this country back for our children, to bring back the American dream, to bring back a thriving businesses on Main Street, to get the water flowing for our farmers again, and to bring down the cost of groceries for our families. Start growing the food that we eat here. Become energy independent. Tap into our deep energy and oil resources and drill, baby, drill. It is time that we build a rich nuclear future where energy is abundant and affordable for all Americans. And we will get American industry firing on all cylinders again. If we are going to remain the shining city on a hill, it is on us to keep it shining. And we don't need everyone on this trip that we are going, but we in it shall be remembered. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers. For he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother, be he never so vile, this day shall gentle his condition, and gentlemen in England shall think themselves accursed that they were not here, and hold their manhood's cheap, whilst any speaks that fought with us on St. Crispin's Day. So fight with me, and I'll fight with you. Because make no bones about it, we have the fight of our lives ahead of us. We are a long shot, but last year they said that we had no shot. But you can't take a shot without being on the court. So help us get in the game, show up with us on July 31st, and help us save California and make America great again. Thank you so much. If you guys would like to